Hey y'all, it's Terry from Sisterhood of the Traveling Brush, and I'm doing something fun today, and I'm glad that you're along with me. We're going to be working on this, but I had to make myself a cheat sheet. I'm in a challenge. How fun is that? There are 6 other Dixie Belle retailers plus me, and we don't have a name yet, so I'll add that in a minute once we figure that out. But I wanted to get started on my piece today because who doesn't want to do something fun, right? But I'm gonna tell you everybody else that's gonna be in it too now, and then once I have the group name, if I have to mention it again later, that's what I'll do. But I am being joined by, from Texas, Kim at Texas Vintage Addiction. Their YouTube channel is Kim and Doug Hunter. Also, another Kim from Florida, from LaVintage Reloved. From Rhode Island, Linda at Paint Transfer Design. From Tennessee, Danielle at the Shops at Main and McGrew. From Washington State, Marti at the Vintage Dog. From Pennsylvania, LaVonne at LaVintage Decor. And me from Louisiana, Terry from Sisterhood of the Traveling Brush. I'm so glad you joined me. I hope you will, once we get all of this published, check out the other ladies too and how much fun we're having with this. What we did, my partner is Texas Kim from Texas Vintage Addiction. Isn't that the coolest name? And we chose colors together. Each of us chose, and each of the teams are paired up, and we're all choosing our own sort of pair colors and items. Each of us chose a color, 2 colors actually, and a side item, another item. And wouldn't you know, I chose Plum Crazy and Peony. Aren't those gorgeous? They're almost too much alike. But I love them. I love them. I couldn't help myself. And Kim chose Burlap to have something neutral, and Bunker Hill Blue, which is one of her favorites, to give us a good stabilizing color. And then she chose Voodoo Gel Stain, and we can use any color. She and I are pretty open about this. And then I chose Gemstone Mousse. And I don't know which one I'm going to use yet, but Diamond is the one. It almost is a very bright silver that I had out. And I thought, depending on how it looks with the blue, or whatever ends up being the predominant color, we may do our hardware in this. I don't know. But first things first, I wanted to talk about that. And I am all gloved up because the first step always is what? Clean your piece, girlfriend. Clean your piece. So this is Dixie Belle White Lightning. You can put it in a spray bottle, or you can put it in a bucket of water. It's about a tablespoon. So that looks like about a tablespoon to me. So boom, there you go. Whoop, there it goes, right? That did not scuff it up very much either. So whatever they've got on the surface is very tough stuff. So what I'm going to do is use Slick Stick. Dixie Belle makes a type of primer that helps your paint stick to slick surfaces. And even though this has now been sanded to scuff sand it, it's still slick. So to make sure that there aren't problems later on, I'm going to apply a coat of Slick Stick. Decided to mix some colors to come up with a custom color. I thought that I didn't love the Bunker Hill Blue, but now I love it anyway. So if I don't like my mix, I'll go back to it. What I'm looking for to create right now, and this is Plum Crazy. See, it needs to be stirred. It's been well loved. I have 2 or 3 of them open here. It's one of my faves. And I love to use these craft sticks for stirring. Anyway, I want to come up with a purplish blue. That's the best way to put it, because the purple's my favorite color, and these are the colors that I'm supposed to be using. So I got a couple of, these are 4-ounce cups. This is my scientific measuring. So, and I got an old coffee mug. This is from Java Joe's, the coffee shop that I used to own pre-hurricane. I am going to put about close to 4 ounces of the Bunker Hill Blue in my cup. All of the Dixie Belle colors are mixable. You could make it a little darker, adding a little caviar or a little in the navy, or you could lighten it up by adding some of it to a lighter color. Always add your dark to your light, because you'll never get it light, you know, right if you do it the other way. So I'm gonna go with about 3 ounces, a little bit less of this than that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go with probably 2.5 ounces to begin with, because I can always add more. Mix her in. But anyway, you can always mix them to get the colors that you want. I'm thinking about the design that I'm going to put on here later. I might want to add some yellow. So instead of picking out, and I may want to add some green, instead of picking out another green, once I pick out my yellow, either Colonel Mustard or Daisy, in all likelihood, then I will add it to this same blue, so it'll still sort of be in the same color family. Let's see if we like it. It is definitely coming out to a purple that's lighter than the aubergine and darker than or more muted than the amethyst, darker than the lavender. I may leave a little of that Plum Crazy swirling through there. I did get Plum Crazy, not Peony, right? Yeah, Plum Crazy. I like it. So, don't think just because you have, you know, only 3 or 4 colors that you're limited to those colors, because you're really not. You can take those colors, add them together, and come up with a multitude of other colors to mix in with it that's always going to look good. So what I'm going to do right now is let this, boy, that's a beautiful purple. Let this purple become my base coat. I'm going to put it all over this whole thing. Hopefully that's enough to do it all. I do believe it will be. I'm using a dampened flat large Dixie Belle brush. Don't have my misting bottle in here, but let's see how this looks. Oh yeah, baby, that's gorgeous. Gorgeous. So for the purple lover in you, if you're a purple lover like me, this is a nice one. Makes me want to think LSU Tigers. Go Tigers. Go Tigers. That purple was my favorite color before I knew who the Tigers were. I'm so old, maybe they got the idea from me. Okay. I won't necessarily, I'm making sure there's no drips or runs. I won't necessarily need a second coat of this on here unless I decide to, because whatever design, I'm going to have a second coat of paint, but I don't know that it will be a second coat of this blend, because I'm wanting to paint a design on here. I want to show you real quick. The whole table has a base coat on it. I think it looks fabulous. Remember, we put, what, 3.5 ounces of Bunker Hill Blue and about 2.5 ounces of Plum Crazy. So what's that? 3, 4, 5, about 6 ounces. But we have some left over, and this is just a 4-ounce cup that I happen to have, so you can use in anything. But this is going to give me touch-up paint should I need it. I will put a little sticker on top that tells me what colors and proportions this was, in case I ever decide I need it again. A lot of people keep a little book of color mixes. I think Brandy from Brush by Brandy does that, and you then can go back to your little book and look at the colors that you mix up whenever you're wanting to have a color again that you had once before. I will save my little craft stick. See, I could still dip my brush in there and get more if I needed. But we ended up with about, this is a 4-ounce container. We ended up with about probably close to 2 ounces left in there. So I'm going to seal this off. I'll save this stick to label, and I'll label my little jar, and we're boom. Decided I better use the burlap, and it's gorgeous. It looks like a very creamy, melty vanilla ice cream with coffee in it or something. Okay, and what I've decided to do with this for now is paint the side of the drawers. There you go. So I'm gonna come back with something else on these later, like some kind of design with the Plum Crazy or the Peony or something like that. And I just wanted to go ahead and get, because it's gonna make them look cleaner and more exciting once there's something on them. So I'm just getting, that's not dry enough yet, getting a quick, oh man, look what I did. That's okay. That's okay, T. My grandkids call me T. So T it is. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the back because it's dripping back there anyway, so why not? I have taped up the sides on the inside. See how it's ugly down there on bottom and been sanded? But I've got the green frog tape in there so that I don't get any on the sides. Normally I would paint up the sides on the inside, but because that manufacturer sticker is on there, I want to preserve that in case it means something to somebody. Doesn't mean anything to me, but it may mean something to somebody. I'm not going to go to the trouble of sanding it off. My brush is still pretty damp because I just washed it. You should help me name that purple. That purple is gorgeous. And it's ours, right? So we can name it. Trying to stay with the grain, even though there is no grain. This is the direction of the fake grain. Not worrying about getting any under there, but I am worried about getting some on the top, which I've done a little bit of. We'll put another coat on here once this dries. It's very humid here in Louisiana all the time anyway, but it's raining like everything right now here, so there's a lot more moisture in the air than usual. So it's going to take the paint a little longer to dry. I'm just going over it with the side of my brush, and that's going to help me keep the lines straighter, since I don't want to paint the sides of the inside of the drawer. This is the same method I do using the side of my brush this way for what I call outlining my canvases. I love to do it that way. Okay, rinse it out of that. These brushes hold so much paint. It's really surprising. That is rinsed down in the water, not washed. I'm going to try to, I've got a towel down there on the floor, take out the excess. Oh, isn't this drawer going to make somebody happy? Yes, indeed it is. Voila! It's going to be pretty. I'm going to leave that tape in there overnight, and I'll come. That really goes good together. How good can you see? A little bit of the pink and a little bit of the purple together. Man, that's pretty. That's going to be fun. Fun is the name of my game. You just call me Carrie Fun Stovall. I am here for the fun. Here for the fun of it. Don't take yourself too seriously. 2 days later, And the burlap that I put on here as placeholders for my flowers is dry. The purple that we made with the Bunker Hill Blue and Plum Crazy is dry. I absolutely love it. I've decided to add one more color because we can do that, right? Do whatever we want. But I'm also trying to get out all the colors here. I'm going to add yellow. Kind of wanted to add Daisy. Couldn't find Daisy, so we're going to add Colonel Mustard. Hopefully it's not dry. This one's been in there for a while. We're going to use this a couple of different ways. So since this is a video about, Lord have mercy, y'all. This is a video about mixing colors. Since this is a video about mixing colors, I figured we would mix some more colors. Remember we mixed this purple? Well, now I want to mix, my flowers are going to be 2 or 3 different colors in each one. So I decided it will have this yellow in the middle, but I also am going to mix some with this Peony and get us a little bit of an orange. Of course, the Daisy might have made a prettier orange, but I think it's meant for, look how thick and creamy that is, man. This is so thick and luscious. You can use it thick like that, or add a little water and thin it back out. We're going to use it straight in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and make this little green. So we're going to put some of this in here. We may need, I'm going to put a couple of scoops, a little more green than we do orange. And we're going to mix it with our Peony, and we're going to mix it with our Bunker Hill Blue. So we should come out with colors that all look good together and stand on their own. This has now dried, maybe 1/2 inch flat that I've been using. I'm going to use the same one and just go with the Plum Crazy first, because that's our deepest color. This one's kind of thick. Been using it a while. And we're just going to go around those centers and make little apostrophes. Okay, I've laid this on pretty thick, and while it's still wet, I'm going to come in with our orangey melon color that we made and put it right over the Plum Crazy. Same thing, just little apostrophes. I'm going a little farther out than I did with the Plum Crazy. But doing the same thing, little C's or apostrophes, whatever you want to call it. The bigger the flower, the bigger the apostrophe. While the orangey melony color we made is still wet, I'm going to come in with the Peony and do the same exact thing. And we're back. I grabbed a handful of some of my favorite smaller brushes. Love, love, love these Deco liner brushes, but apparently don't take care of them very good. Look. And I still have a flat from yesterday. What I normally would want to do right now is use some chalk or like a watercolor pastel or something like that, and mark on here where I want the leaves. But where I sit right now, I have none of that available, so I'm going to wing it, and we're going to just do it and pretend we know what we're doing. So I'm going to put some leaves on, and I'm not going to know how abstract or whatever they are until you do. I have no idea what I'm going to do yet, but this is the green paint that we got yesterday. We made yesterday. I love it when it gets that yellowy green kind of color. I just love that color. My daughter's car is almost that color. And this is sort of our medium of the greens. And we're just gonna hop to it. I don't know if I'm going to put leaves on every single flower. I don't want it to get too crazy, but I want it to have the green on there. So I'm just gonna go for it here. Usually these are supposed to be mimicking roses. So usually your roses will have a couple of leaves going in a couple of directions. And the size of them is gonna be based on the size of the rose. I mean, all the things that I guess anybody would want to do common sense wise. I have all the green in our first initial color on there. Have this little container with what's left in it of our kernel mustard from yesterday. I'm going to put just a tad more in there. Tad of our green to come up with our highlight color. If this isn't quite light enough, I will add some of the burlap to it. But I really like this. Look how it's looking. This really needs some water. I'm just going to use my mister. Mist some in there. That's because the kernel mustard was so thick that it is thick, but also I want it thinner than usual. That's pretty thin because I'm going to use one of the little the smaller, not exactly a liner brush, but a detail brush, and I'm fixing to decide which side my son. Oh man, on my good shirt. Anywho, I think I'm going to go with the angle brush. Got this one on Blick Art Supply, and it's simply Simmons 1/8 inch angle. Let's say our sun is going to be shining from that direction. So I'm just going to come back with the lighter, yellower version. And come to all of our leaves. Try to stay consistent with getting the side of them that the sun would be hitting. More or less the top side, because I'll do the bottom side when I add more of the Bunker Hill blue. The lines don't have to be perfect. They probably look better when they're not, when you're going with something abstract like this. I'm also, as needed while I'm going, if I see it needs a little more something toward the center there, I'm going to use this same color and tie it back together. Okay, I'm going to continue on with this and come right back when we mix up our next darker color. Let me show you these side by side real quick. Now we're going to mix our final color for the leaves, which will be our low light color. And I don't want to get it too blue, although I do like a blue green. But I'm going to go with the Bunker Hill blue first, and I'm not getting a whole lot. For one, I don't need a whole lot of this paint. But see how little of a bit I'm putting on there? It didn't really add up to much. Hope I don't regret that, but that's what I'm thinking I need. And at first I was going to go ahead and just mix it in with this one, but then I decided I wanted to have all three colors to be able to compare. So I'm getting a little more of this one than I did the blue, plus it's thicker because of that kernel mustard. That's why you use another stick. So let's see what we got. This may be, why don't we stir it with the green end? Oh yeah, this almost looks like palmetto. It's a definite green, but definitely a blue hint. So see how much darker that one is than that one. And then compared, here's the 3 together. So the tones of these all go together well because they're all using the same paint colors. So that's going to give it some harmony that it wouldn't have had I just started opening green paint, you know, and darkening it with, you know, black or gray and lightening it with white. This is really going to be more visually appealing. Same thing, we're going with the thin brush, so I'm going to thin it out. I'm going to go with this detail brush, number 2, I think, Round Fine Detail by Decor. Mix it up a little bit with the water that I just mixed it in. Get it good and thin so it will flow easily off of the brush. And then we're going to just go to the opposite side of each leaf than we did with the highlight color. So this would be where the shadows would be coming in. It doesn't have to be a perfect line. It doesn't have to be anything but smudged on there to give it just a little bit more depth. I love how the leaves turned out so far. I may still go back with a little bit of a lighter highlight. I'm not sure yet. But the one thing that I've noticed at this point, remember we used the burlap as our placeholder in the beginning for where we were going to put all the flowers. But now I feel like, for one, the flowers can use just a tad more definition. This is more like a watercolor look, and this is absolutely fine. And I absolutely could stop right here and not do this part, but this is still a challenge to use these colors. And this one, remember I have the drawer sides in this, don't I? Yep, I have the drawer sides in this. And we used it as the placeholder. So technically I've used it, and there's still some peeking through in all the flowers, but I don't feel like I've used it enough. I'm gonna get another one of my handy dandy little portion control cups, and I'm gonna put just a little bit in there. Okay, I'm using the watered down burlap with my small liner brush and just putting a few squigglies, holding it way back at the other end, make sure you can see, and just putting a small amount of squigglies on each one, just to give them just a little bit more definition. It's important to stay loose for this and not tighten up. At this point, my flowers are on for right now, and the burlap is still drying on them. But I want to do one more thing, not much. I need a second coat on this part, and I have my purple that I made. But I feel like I didn't use enough of the blue, even though it is the basis for my purple. So I'm going to do one more thing and just do a little bit of blending for my second coat here. This is the Plum Crazy Bunker Hill Blue. So what I'm going to do is, it's going to look a little bit crazy. Ready? I'm going to put just a little bit, just right off of my stir stick around there, just enough to have some on there. I want the Bunker Hill Blue in the center, so I'm going to do the same thing. But I want a little more, not a whole lot more, but a little more. Just going to drizzle it on there. A little bit of my purple that we made around the edges. I rinsed it out some from doing the second coat of Peony on the inside of the drawer. There's still a little bit on there, but that's okay because we're just going to be blending. First thing, it's very wet, which is good. Into my blue. My next part of the project is the voodoo gel stain. I'm using denim because I think it will bring out more of the blue. So shake it up really good because it can separate. It is water-based, and I like to use the applicator pad, but you can also squeeze it right out of the tip, or you can also put it in a little container and use your brush. First, I'm gonna try just squirting right out of the bottle. And it's doing exactly what I want. I've got another coat of Peony in this drawer. I dry brushed some Peony on the outer edges and put a little directly, you can put it directly on your piece or directly on your applicator. Let's see what happens. Well, it definitely is giving a blue tint to the paint because I had the burlap on those edges. So it's really not doing what I want it to do there. But it's given a little bit of a hint of blue. I'm definitely gonna come all the way around the top, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it over my dry brushed sides. I like it. Almost gives a hint of a purple, just like when we mixed our Bunker Hill blue with our Plum Crazy. I like it. Just a hint of the blue in there. See, compared to this side, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I have decided to use hemp oil as my sealer since this is a dark color and it gives a good hard finish on top. So I'm going to just use the applicator just like I used for the voodoo gel stain in denim that I used on there. I'm done with that. And I'm all paranoid about this. There were a couple of scratches on top this morning. So I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go ahead and get this thing protected. Whenever you have a dark color, especially something like caviar or something like that, to keep from getting any streaks or anything with your top coat, the best one is always if you ask me, is hemp oil. I love, love, love it. So see the difference in how vibrant these flowers are compared to those, and it's not just from the shine. The hemp oil will leave somewhat of a shine, but not like a high gloss or anything. I'm not a high gloss fan, but it does leave a durable finish, where with wax you have to reapply every 6 months or so to continue the protection. I'll never have to reapply this hemp oil. I hope you've enjoyed painting along with me on this little table makeover. I love the way the pink shows on the inside, and the peony, that's Dixie Belle Peony. The custom blend gave me this beautiful deep purple that was Bunker Hill blue and Plum Crazy, and then the colors that we mixed to get this beautiful kind of a melon color. Love, love, love it. It was a fun project to do. I hope you'll click over and look for Kim, my partner in crime on this, at Texas Vintage Addiction. She used the same colors as me, all the same products as me, and we haven't seen each other's projects yet, so I can't wait till you do that. And the rest of the gang in this Dixie Belle challenge: Kim at LaVintage Reloved, Linda at Paint Transfer Design, Danielle at the shops at Main and McGrew, Marti at the Vintage Dog, and LaVonne at LaVintage Decor. So check them all out. I'll have all their links below, and thanks for watching, and make sure and let me know what Dixie Belle products that you're enjoying. Bye.